pain.
Oh, that's weird. What is going on with my... What is that? There's a glitch behind my chat.
Mm-hmm. And I can see myself twice.
Yeah, it's funky. What is this looking at? That's the weirdest thing. I think it's looking at the wrong thing.
Hello, hello.
Hey there. There. What is this? Yeah.
Oh, that's
Why?
funny.
Why is it looking at that?
I don't know, but it makes me scared and confused.
Right. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be looking at. There we go. That was super freaking strange. All right. Okie dokie, pokes. How's it going, Night Scott?
Doing all right. I I forgot that I updated my computer to use the new like iPhone camera thing when your phone's close to your computer.
Oh.
So all of a sudden I'm like staring at the ceiling. Like, what's going on? Why is my camera showing the ceiling? It's pointed right at me.
You've been having interesting technical difficulties in general lately.
Gosh. Well, yeah. We're good though now.
Well, that's fantastic. I might as well
But
turn this on.
this thing is really cool.
Like, you just put it up so that the rear camera is facing, and
Yeah.
when it gets within like a certain range of your computer, it just says like, do you want to switch to this as your camera? And it runs it through like, it just does all the thinking. So it's really cool because I can just get a little mount for this. The camera, like the video quality would be way improved. Like phone cameras are ridiculously high quality right now.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. Actually. Whew. Got a nice little quattro going on here. Fixed whatever weird ass delusional issue was going on with the chat window there for whatever reason.
I'm gonna go turn off my heater in here.
Might be wise since it looks like you were dressed for warmth.
I am. But this morning, when I came in, it was 62 in the office, so it's a little chilly.
Yeah, sounds about right.
But we're finally getting fall weather, so I'm not gonna complain.
True. Yeah, it's been a little late. It's all because of that extra stuff that everybody likes to talk about. Things are happening. We're on episode 19, which means that next Thursday, for those who are actually still caught up with it, actually get a major milestone. Or at least we're going to be close to it, because I know there's been some dropouts.
Yeah, I'm only at 18 sessions now.
I was gonna say Ken was hitting everyone until he missed it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So he's at like 19.
I have to admit, I really like the milestones.
I love it. I mean, it's gonna suck for Drew,
Yeah.
when but like, it makes sense. It works for me.
Yeah. I used to give people
It's
IP for their birthday when I didn't have money. I might start giving up milestones. Happy birthday!
You get 2 major milestones.
I'm not that generous.
Cheap bastard.
No, smart.
What happened?
I
It was his
love how-
birthday. I'm a blood god.
Yeah.
It's something to look forward to. It's really cool. So, like, I can plan out, okay, in the next, like, I'll hit a major milestone in 3 more sessions. So I can start looking at them now and make,
Or even further
You
than
know,
that,
plan.
because I'm looking at this one milestone, going, no, I want to get that milestone, but it requires 2 major milestones first.
Yeah.
So, and then I ask myself, how does that relate to the story of the character,
Mm-hmm.
right? How do these milestones reflect that change or evolution? Kind of how I see it. Which makes me just want to make every session that I can, because
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but-
awesome.
It's doing the job
And we're
that I was
not,
hoping
like-
it'd do.
Swinging a bag of dead rats around to get some XP. You know, like it's not like that.
It was only that one time.
Yeah. Can I just go out there and cast Fireball every single freaking day, or like use this cantrip and just bloop 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 bloop?
No.
Like, it works in the basic sense of things, experience points that is. But I think that having it organically spent is like better.
Well, and it's not a story milestone,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it's a character milestone. So like whether or not we, rescue the princess from the castle or take down the drug cartel or whatever, like my character's putting in those hours and having those experiences and learning from it, and like that part is still going on.
Yes.
So, I like those, and then yeah, like you were saying, you'll tie them to the story.
It's like taking advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah.
It's everything that's built into the system is built towards character development.
Oh, hey.
Are
hi,
you putting
Michael.
it towards stats? Are you putting it towards story? Are you putting it towards the actual character of the individual, the advantage or disadvantage? It's all about that to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very cool.
Oh man. High Prime Almighty. That's a good name. Yeah, we're just waiting on Ken. Hopefully will be here soonish. He's one of those people because hard to ghost you, man. He makes himself he makes himself so damn integral to everything that's impossible to move on. It's like I can
No,
ghost.
he's just. I got you. He's gonna go. Hi, I'm human. And everyone goes. Okay, while he's busy.
Yeah. Well, we are just surrounded by the Gestapo or whatever.
Well, technically something akin to a police force for the marketplace. Yeah.
Well,
Which-
Danny's gonna justice. No, we'll never get into Stanford.
Oh God.
Do you know who my daddy is?
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Actually, knowing it, I'm sure he's got a bright future. We've got to let that boy off with just a slap.
Oh my god.
I'm so generous in my games.
High Prime Almighty,
Oh.
the ruler of measurement. I like that. That's high quality joke right there.
Uh-huh. It
Um,
goes the distance.
My my son got a 500 corny Halloween jokes book for Halloween,
Mm-hmm.
and he's
Oh.
been regaling us with them. They are fantastic, like top tier.
I don't have anything like that. The only thing that comes close to my mind is the Book of Farts that my mother sent me for Christmas.
It
They're-
says, the classics of why didn't the skeleton want to go to the dance? Because he
Mhm.
had nobody to dance with, right?
Oh, God,
It has
jokes.
those. But then why did the vampire break up with his girlfriend? Because she wasn't his blood type.
See, that's the kind of stuff that I have to listen to every single Friday.
Wait, our game's on Thursday. I was like, wait a second, we don't do dad jokes nonstop.
No, it's just a meeting every morning. Company meeting with my particular department, and it's always, let's do some really corny ass pun jokes. And I'm like,
Yep.
this is bridging torture, not necessarily ice breaking. I can't handle this. Oh
Oh,
my
good. My new backup drive has properly reformatted itself.
Yeah, well, I know that
Excellent.
my drive hasn't backed up in a while.
I have mine set to back up every hour. So
Is it incremental or full, or what are you doing?
it's incremental.
Okay. Because I was like,
Yeah.
you're not just like reloading an image every hour, because holy goddamn.
No. So it does backups every hour.
Yeah.
And then it has like the daily, like the day backup, and then it has the week, and then it has the month. So
Yeah, you only want like
after
full image
a month
backups
has
for like
passed.
extended intervals.
Exactly. So it only does the big one like once a month,
Yeah.
but it's iterative, after that. So it's but it's
I'm thinking about people watching this going like, I'm burning some really good shit right about now.
I have a 2 terabyte drive that is borked, and so to try and like image that onto something else, like I don't have 2 terabytes free on my main computer, so I just went and snagged a 5 terabyte drive. So now that is half partitioned with my other drive.
Yeah, I've got what did I slam? What is this one? Yeah, I've got a full 2.5 terabytes of space on my PC right now. It's
Very nice.
yes, but I mean but with the number of games that I've installed and it's the fact that it's an NVMe solid state drive, it loads super quick. But I ate up 1,500 gigs in games alone. Just
Yeah.
that's what I wanted it for. So that drive is literally just called the Vault. That's where all the freaking games go. 1,500 gigs. It's stupid how much that like takes up. Crazy.
Yeah. Mine is my comic archive and D&D archive.
All right, so you
And then
basically
like
are
wedding pictures and stuff, but
outside of those. Obviously, you've just become your own personal version of the Trove before they shut
Yes.
that down, which
It-
was unfortunate.
Oh,
let's just say when I
still sad about that.
saw
Yeah.
the writing on the wall, I went shopping.
Probably a wise choice. I mean, like they were gonna let that stay. They're like, oh, we're losing shitloads of money on this. Let's not have this up.
Which is why I'll like pull out some arcane cyberpunk reference, because I snagged a bunch of those books. And
Yeah, I think I still have a PDF of Edge of the Sword, which is like one of my favorite gun books. Yeah. It's because it goes through all the different various measurements, grain, the amount of grain,
like
the
that
history
one
of the weapon.
dude like reviewing each weapon personally,
Yeah.
that was just so wild to read. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great freaking book, and it can help you like figure out what you want to do for like modern weapons, because you can see all the different
Yeah.
things. Like, oh, they've solved this weird little problem that nobody knows about. Makes the weapon do this.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. That's how, from that book, I learned what the term point blank actually means.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't mean close. It is referring to the target, so the center of a target being white, or the point blank. It is the distance at which you no longer need to calibrate your sight up and down
Mm-hmm.
for a gun. So when you can shoot level, that is point blank, which is going to be a different distance for
Every
different
weapon. Yeah. Yep.
So now we assume point blank means
Well, it's because they always use
within
point blank
10 feet
range.
or whatever. Right, but like that is it will vary between a handgun to a rifle or something like that.
Yeah, pretty much everybody thinks that it's like barrel pressed against your head. Is
Right. Which is why in like something like D&D, where it's like, you have a penalty for shooting at point blank with a bow, and I was like, why?
right.
That would
I was
mean a
like,
super
wouldn't I have?
accurate shot?
Yeah.
Wait, are you kidding me? That's a ridiculous accurate shot.
And add
Yeah.
1 point of damage onto that, please.
Yes.
Well, and that's I don't know. I've never understood going backwards. Whenever because I've encountered more than one system that penalizes you for being up close, and I'm like, no.
Well, I understand being in a hallway fight with a shotgun or something is going to be different than being in an open room, but
If you're within 10 feet of a pretty much any ranged weapon,
Yeah.
unless you have a complete hiccup, like drunk sorority sister type throw or shot, it's pretty much guaranteed you're going to hit your target unless they are insanely lucky. Like, it's just... I mean, and I'm taking, not from my own personal experience, I'm just taking that from people that have been in actual gunfights themselves. And that would include, like, my friend who I've known for, like, 20 years, having served in the military. He's basically like, it's speed. Like, if you fire first, you're usually going to be the one that wins because you're the one who's killing the guy first. It's that simple. It has very little to
Yeah.
do with your aim, per se, at certain ranges. It's just, like, who can pull the trigger first. Like, aim matters, but after a while, that democratic equalizer equalizes. So it's just whoever's fastest.
I forgot how I'm supposed to watch our stream with my mod powers.
Western draw,
Western
yeah.
Draw.
I don't know. I think that's the reason why I like Shadows. I try to design it to where it's like, I don't know, makes it realistic and scary. Like, are you really going to risk your character's life at a 10-foot range with somebody with a gun pointed at your face? Probably not. Not unless you're like heroic or higher. Or you have enormous balls.
That's where I really liked Barrick having the gun kata. Like, because if you watch a movie like Equilibrium, like so much of it is trying to get the hands to point elsewhere, right, than at you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I have a handgun but I can't point it at you because you move it too close and keep moving my arms to the side or whatever, like, okay, that's gonna make things more challenging.
Funny story about that. Same friend I was mentioning earlier was screwing around with doing weapons and stuff like that, doing trick shots, and was taking hints from Equilibrium. Mind you, this guy has known weapons and taught me pretty much everything I know about guns to begin with. He's forgotten more about weapons than I'll ever know. But he actually tried doing the out here, and then here with the shot behind his head.
Went deaf.
Oh, yeah, he
And
said, like, that was the
ripped
stupidest
his arms
fucking
apart.
thing I have ever done. Like, he didn't eat the brass, he just basically blasted it right behind his head, and so he's like, "Whee!" And he's like, ah! Like, he just couldn't... It's just sort of like, man, you use these things, like, literally for what they're intended for. How did you not figure that out? And, like, he just thought it was the stupidest thing, and it's like, I have to agree, man, that is definitely your near Darwin moment. I think your pride is definitely deserving of a Darwin Award at this point.
Yeah.
It was clearly a mistake. I'm just glad he
Teachable
didn't blow
moment.
the back of his neck out on accident or something. Because that's the thing about
job.
weapons like that. It's like,
Get your hot piece of brass down the shirt collar.
yeah, right? Well, I mean, like, getting brass in the face or in your clothing or anything like that is something kind of a typical occurrence, especially since you can't really choose where you're going to, like, run out prone or cover, and you're just basically... Just don't have your mouth open too much if you can avoid it, I guess. You're going to get a 3-pointer right in the face.
Oh my gosh. I should open up my character sheet. Okay, so I really like where we are going with the vampire bloodlines, by the way.
Oh, yeah, because you've been getting super heavy into that. It's having to
Yeah.
produce some of it.
Yeah, it's putting him into the tables and everything for the book has been really good because I'm forced to like read through everything and make sure like it makes sense, and like your economy of language is really, really good. So I don't find myself having to change much of anything. Like there's sometimes when the description like makes more sense than the effect that was written, and so I'm like, how do I put this
Yeah.
in here so it's good? But so it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. The diversity of powers is
Hey, Inky.
fantastic.
Yeah, there's a
I
lot
was
of them.
talking to Inky yesterday about Vampire Bloodline stuff.
Mm-hmm.
About the I really, really like the Umbral Glass.
Yeah.
Like, dang, I want that. That's such a cool idea of like drawing in the shadows and hardening it into like a weapon, yes, armor cool, but like a tool even.
Yeah.
You know, pulling that in, and because you need a lever, you need a wrench, like whatever. Like, oh, I can do this, and like shadow wrench. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I always looked at vampires as being sort of the sorcery part of the like shadow dark dominion of the supernatural world.
yeah.
You know, werewolves were always the brunt, you know. You've got werewolves were always like the striking barbarians because they can just heal fast and
Right.
nom through things and do all that stuff. But then you have vampires, which are supposed to be the sleek, manipulative, smexy bikini wearing little turds that always have to watch out for.
Have you seen the Key and Peele vampire sketch?
I haven't.
Where it's like, and
Of course, I can see it in my
like,
head.
right? And then like the newly turned vampire is in like street clothes, like a jersey and a hat, and he's like, "Dude, why are you doing all that? Like, I'm gonna eat her. Why are you licking her neck? That's gross. Why are you always hissing? Just talk. Do you even like wearing those clothes? Like, it's so funny." And then it like flashes forward and it like shows them, and they're like all in like sweatpants and t-shirts, like eating Hot Pockets or whatever. And they're like, "Oh, this is so much better. If I'm gonna spend eternity, I'm gonna do it wearing comfy clothes." Like, he's like, "I got bit on purpose. I want to live forever, outlive my enemies." It's like, this is dumb. I'm not gonna. It's so funny.
Oh my gosh. Hey! There he is. Oh. I get to... This is kind of interesting. At least for me, it's interesting.
Ken's like icon is just how I imagine Ken looks all the time. He's not on camera.
He and I both have the same kind of sense of humor. It's the face. It's always about the face. That's the reason why Rando Wiz...
That's why Rando Wiz is the best.
Yeah.
Let's say Rando.
Yep, Rando Wiz is the best. Your mic must be something different. I don't know if you're using your phone or whatever.
Oh god, let me fix it.
Yep. Sounds like you're in a barrel. So I get to help. This is what's weird, is that I get to help my oldest with her English project, which her English teachers need as hell, apparently. Yes, much better. Silky smooth now. But he was like...
Dulcet.
Yeah. He was basically just like, okay, here's your assignment. He's calling it Genius Hour, and he gave them options. So one of the options was to create a podcast. And I'm sitting there going like, are you serious? She's like, yeah, I can pick whatever topic. I can just make a podcast. I'm like, you realize how diverse that can be, right? Because you can read stories, you can do interviews, you can do all, like, podcasts are really diverse things. You can do a lot with them. And I was like, plus, it's a little funny that you would choose podcast, given the fact that I've spent time doing thumbs and I have kind of that thing going on anyway. She's like, yeah, that's why I picked it, and I want to ace this class, so you're helping me. I'm like, cool.
Nice.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, so she decided she was going to pick the Cecil Hotel in California. You guys know about that one?
I do.
Yeah. Really,
That's
really,
fun.
really, really dark history with that hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's just like, I love supernatural stuff and scary things, so I'm going to do about the Cecil Hotel because I suggested it to her. I was just like, you know about that hotel, right? And she's like, no. And then she started reading up like crazy.
So I just
Cat
finished
poo.
watching the like, I don't watch a lot of Food Network, but I will watch the like Halloween baking championship, Christmas baking championship, whatever, because it's just really fun. So this year the Halloween one was like ridiculously dark and gory. Like, they made like wound cakes where you like squeeze the cake and like gelée like pours out of it like a seeping wound and all this stuff. Really, really gross. But the winner, instead of getting cash this year, the winner got like a 3-night stay at the 10 like most haunted hotels in the country. And so I had to like look up that list. I was like, okay, what is,
Mm-hmm.
what is this list of hotels? So I've been down that rabbit hole like this whole week.
Yeah. Well, the one we
What
used to
is
live
the
out
most
next to,
popular
which I was
place?
surprised you didn't remember, was the Hot Lakes Hotel. I used to live very close to that, and we'd pass it all the time. I'd go through the grounds whenever it was still a dilapidated wreck. And that place, I will tell you right now, is infested. And they actually went through and remodeled it, put it back up, put it back to being a hotel again. And it's got like horror story classic style history. Like, started out as a hotel on Indian sacred ground because of the hot lakes themselves are a natural hot spring, so it's
Right.
sacred ground already. Built a hotel, things went really bad. They decided they were going to go, well, if that didn't work, let's turn it into an insane asylum. Did that. Made a whole conversion. That didn't work out. So they turned it back into a frickin' hotel again. That still failed because shit went wrong really, really fast.
Ugh.
And then it was like, well, nobody's going to build on this land anymore. And it was like that for decades. And then somebody's like, I want to make it into a hotel. It's got a great hit. Okay. But when that shit wakes up and your room eats you, your fault.
Why not
I mean, you
nuclear
can
waste dump site?
Can only blame yourself for that one.
Yeah.
So, how you guys doing?
Good. We were waiting for you.
No,
Oh,
right?
sorry.
Not
to
angrily,
be
but
late.
politely. Because, well, you know, Hugh Man is kind of like, Heart of the Ghostbusters. We have to have him around or things don't really work out quite so well.
I'm gonna break open my notes. Notes? I like notes. If anyone gets what I was referencing, you get like 10 stars.
I don't know what you're referencing, unfortunately.
It was a bastardization of the phrase jokes. I like jokes.
I still don't know what you're referencing, which is interesting.
It's from Family Guy.
Oh, that's why. I haven't watched a lot of that.
Oh.
It's a Peter is it's the one where Peter becomes effeminate because he goes to like a women's boot camp or whatever. But like the reason he gets there is because he's like telling a joke to his buddy. He's like, "Why do women have boobs? So you have something to look at while you're talking to them." And then like a woman comes around the corner and is like, "Are you guys telling jokes? I like jokes." And he tells her the
There you
joke.
go.
It's just really funny.
Narrator voice. She did not like that joke.
No, they did it so perfectly because he tells the joke and he goes, and then he says, "So you got something to look at while you're talking to him," and then he says, "So you got something that cuts to like the HR, like a sexual harassment thing."
Nice.
This is really funny. Okay, so what were we doing last week? We'd been able to get out, which was kind of a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys made
yeah,
it back.
We fought our way through a crowd of rough boys, and then Malcolm.
It was
like,
barely a
crit,
fight.
crit,
The dice
crit,
were so
crit.
on your guys' side that it was a little bit of a sham. I almost felt like, you know, if anybody was actually watching that, it's like that DM's just literally letting him have it. I'm like, no.
Can't believe it's already November. Good lord.
I was like, shut your mouth. No, it's no. Yeah, it is. It is.
Shut your mouth.
Where's my regular? Oh, I am so out of it still. The sleep thing is still killing me.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you lose any more work over it?
No, thankfully. I've actually been able to meet my requirements for overtime requested and so on. So I've been doing that. But I mean, I'm talking like I'm up and I can't sleep in the middle of the night. So I'll probably be up until like 3 o'clock this morning wondering what in the hell's going on. And then I'll crash until 7 a.m. or so. And I actually get up with the alarm. But then I'm like crashing throughout the day. So I'll be like, I'll be right back. 10-minute timer. Like that. And I was just like, and what's weird is I know I haven't gained any weight. So it's not a sleep apnea thing. So I don't know what is going on, but it feels metabolically like things are just kind of fluctuating and moving around, and I'm just kind of like, I'm along for the ride on this one. Whatever the hell's going on, just get it over with. Because the sleep thing is weird.
That is weird. Just don't crash while you're driving.
Well, I'm luckily enough. See, that's how I know it's not an apnea thing. Because I can drive my vehicle without knowing that I'm going to like fly off the frickin' edge. Because I had a 5-minute drive to Convergys when I was working there. And I would, it was just 5 minutes from where I was to Alton to Wilsonville. and just within a minute and a half, I was passing out so hard that I almost wrecked 3 or 4 times in that 5 minute span. But I couldn't stop doing what I was doing, so it was like. Plus, it was freeway drive too. Turning on those
autopilot.
Oh God, I would hear that like that as I would hit the edge, or if worse, wherever those little vibrating strips aren't on the side of the road, is we're on the curvy ramps. Yeah, I would lose it usually on those ramps whenever I was doing those turns.
Inky says drink hot chocolate if you get up in the middle of the night.
Hot chocolate.
Wonder why that's the advisement. I don't know.
That's what Inky says.
Yeah. My oldest.
Probably because Inky wants me to make her hot chocolate if she gets up.
I know what I've been suggested to do a couple of times by my oldest is to drink moon milk, which I can't stomach.
What's moon milk?
It's honey milk warmed together. There's a few other things.
Warmed.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's warmed milk.
I heard wormed.
Yeah, not wormed. No, it's
I was
warmed.
like, that doesn't sound appealing to me.
Yeah, no.
Leave a cup of milk out under the full moon. Whatever crawls inside, that's part of the milk. You just chug that down.
You just gotta be careful because when you open up the bottle, it screams.
Yeah.
I'm so grossed out right now. Yeah,
Ooh,
that's.
see, so
I
our
just
current
can't do warm milk.
Don't
That's,
Google worm milk.
So our current group is Hugh, Malcolm, Danny, Barnaby, and Silva, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh God, bro,
Homelander.
dude, that actor. Like, there's certain roles that you look at, like, you know, the Joker and I can't remember his name right now, but the Joker was made for the role that he played. This guy,
Oh, Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger, thank you. This guy for
Yeah.
Homelander was made for it
Yeah.
because
Dude,
he's got
I've-
the smarmy, like the smarmy air about him, but he's also like kind of terrifying, and also just like very passionate and straightforward.
He's got to be somewhat intelligent, and I only say that because the character that he's playing as Homelander is all of those things, but also rapaciously stupid. Like, the guy does not have an IQ. He just
Well, it's
doesn't.
because he's like got the mental or the emotional like age of like a toddler
Yeah, well, like an 8-year-old, basically.
or an 8-year-old. Yeah, like yeah. Except he has superpowers, and so he uses them.
Well,
Which is
he's
why it's
familiar with it.
terrifying.
That's kind of like whenever they started bringing up the whole thing with, whenever it was like the plane was crashing out of air, you know, and they were like, "Can't you just save it?" And he's like, "No, because if I push up the front cone of it, I'll just go straight through the plane instead." Because that's how physics works. Small surface area stronger than something else, so just go right through it.
Yeah.
You know, like
It's not like super strong. Did you already tell the viewers and Bill and Scott about our successful weekend where Shadows was able to be played for the first time?
no,
by
but
people
we
who've
should
never
probably
seen
bring
it?
that up, especially since we've got one of them sitting in
What?
audience right now. Yeah.
Yeah, High Prime, I believe, is one of our players.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, he was. Both
Yeah.
ways, gross, warm milk. Just saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
High Prime, you played Shadows?
Yeah. So this last Saturday, we actually had a full-blown, like, legit alpha test of the system. Like,
Oh my
because
God.
we had Ken present and Kenny as well, who's played it before, but not since changes. So
V1.
3
But,
3
like,
plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we even started dingleberrying with all the different ways that this all fit together, yeah, it was basically Shadows 0.1. So he was familiar with it in that sense, but never saw it in its new form. Which, by the way, good job, Scott, on the overall appearance and look. That got compliments.
everyone loved it.
Yeah, they
What
were
was
really,
funny
really, really
is
happy
that
with it.
His printer that he has is like it had it like
It's
perfectly
old.
like kind of janky, like
Yeah.
where the lines
Oh,
are perfectly
yes.
straight. But it was like it looked like it was done intentionally.
Yeah.
Like it looked like a cyberpunk like
Oh,
glitch
I love
kind of
it.
thing.
Yeah,
Heads.
a distortion.
Heads
Yeah.
were aligning with us.
Yeah, it was like a visual distortion, and everybody's like, "Oh, I thought that was intentional." So they really like the fact that my printer sucks. But yeah, no, they got to. So we had Ken and Kenny, so they were the most familiar. Then we had Kenny's brother and 2 others, High Prime being one of those 2 others, and they had, first of all, never. So High Prime in particular, I don't believe has played any like
This is his
tabletop.
first tabletop
Yeah.
experience. I
That
think.
was like, we're talking like ultimate control scenario, the best thing that could have possibly happened. And he's like, I've never done tabletop ever, and I didn't know that until we actually went out for sushi after everything concluded. But I was just sort of like, oh crap, I would have slowed down then, because I was thinking that you just hadn't played this, not that it was the first one ever. So, and I was like, he's like, no, actually, didn't feel like I was going too fast, and I'm like, really? Like, I was sort of impressed by the fact that it didn't. Oh,
It was
did you?
successful.
Yeah, it was really successful. Everybody seemed to enjoy themselves, and as far as I know, it was understandable and extremely translatable across the board. Despite the fact that I was sitting there going like, God, I hope it's not overcomplicated, and then having somebody who's never played any tabletop go like, oh, I figured it out. It's like, that's a good sign. Like,
Oh.
And we didn't have a CRB to give him, so it was just like D had to just give him kind of a short explanation about how die rolls work and like stuff like that, and I helped a little bit, and like, but they all got it. Like, it was pretty cool. We even got to go through one encounter because since there was like 5 of us, it took a little while to get our group together.
Oh yeah, yeah.
it was very simple. See, there it is. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm sitting there
That's
going
the
like,
idea. Straightforward, accessible.
the
That's-
part that's kind of interesting. So that's like if I make the characters myself with all the stuff in mind, and I'm kind of thinking, okay, this is what I kind of wanted it to begin with. Is that if the character creation process
Yeah.
is a little more involved, who cares? Like if it takes you a while to get it all fleshed out, no big deal. Because the end product is so easy to employ, it doesn't, that first initial crunch at the start, no problem.
Well, when we ship the game, we can ship it with a bunch of pre-builds too, right? Like,
Oh, certainly, yeah.
to give folks an idea of the range of characters available.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and also kudos to D. He spent like an entire week building 5 different characters for us, like pre-building them. The best part, I think the thing that just told us that the universe said it was time, was that at the time we only thought that there was going to be 4 of us there, 4 players, and D had just built a 5th character just cause. And it just so happened that like late breaking, like as we got there, another person was like, "Hey, I'm coming to Salem." It was like, "Oh, we're gonna have a 5th player."
Nice.
So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it worked
Anyway,
out really
that
well.
was I just wanted to give a shout out to D, the GM, being awesome, and the fact that the first alpha session with completely new players who'd never even heard about the system before were able to grasp it in pretty short order.
Less than an hour.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we just
and that was while we were just eating lunch and shooting
Yeah.
shit.
which is fascinating because I don't think you can do that with D&D necessarily.
You need to give them the book, and it's like, okay, you need to read for about an hour.
Yeah, it feels like it feels almost as though I couldn't have done the same thing with another system. I don't know if that could have been that
and
elaborative.
I still want to get some quick start rules
Oh shit!
course,
yes.
yeah.
down, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
you always want to have that, right?
Yeah.
Because even that's, back of the box. How do we play? Oh, it takes 4 players and D10s. Okay, great. Let's do this. Like,
Yeah. Well, and I'm also working on the mechanics for the link and being full on what I'm calling going full
oh
drool.
my gosh.
And
That
Dude,
could
we
be
should
an
see what he built
expansion,
out.
though, right?
Yeah,
Huh?
you should see what he built though. Like we should talk like not during, game hour, but like Scott, you should see what he built because I think you as someone who's like did the cool stuff with the gun kata and stuff. I think you'd have a
Uh-huh.
lot of fun with this. It's cool. It's cool. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah, I probably better get on it before we drain everybody's day.
Bill's just sitting back there and it's like, yep, I could just sit here and relax and listen. We good.
I'm just
This
eating
is
my
it-
kids'
well-
Halloween candy and drinking coffee, so.
We've had 40
Yes.
minutes of Shadows NPR,
Yeah, right.
podcasting.
Up
Yeah.
next on
I
Shadows.
like
Oh my god. Yeah, everybody
I
knows
like
exactly
a
what I
hot
mean.
cup of cocoa. Just before I roll those dice.
Moon milk doesn't have worms in it. Next.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
So gross. The what was funny is Kenny's character was a podcaster, and he kept like saying, "It's like, can you just stand still for like 8-10 seconds?" Because he wanted to get the
room tone.
The room tone.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was really funny.
I
Sound
wasn't sure
only.
that he was going to like the guy, but it turned out way better than I thought. I was underwhelmed by the podcast character he requested, or the one that I made, not his character concept. I was like, I don't feel like I did him justice, and then Kenny took it up, and he's like, I got this. His character was fantastic, and it turned out way better than I was hoping. Because he's, like, talking to people and just, like, weirdly autistically obsessive about, like, doing certain things, and he records everything, so he's on the phone. He's like, can you just be... It's like, can we, like, stay on the phone for, like, 10 seconds, please? And Ken's character's like, what? He's like, I just want to get the room tone. Can you not say anything for, like, 10 seconds? And he's like, no, just... I'll see you at the meet point, click. Like... Like, everybody's just kind of like, what the hell is this dude's deal?
I kind of love
Dude.
that.
Yeah, Kenny always like just sinks into whatever he's given, but he did a good job with it.
I
was
like
fun.
that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see if we can try getting a digital game going, because we all had a lot of fun with that session.
Yeah, I'm going to try and push for an every other weekend type thing whenever my kids are out of house. So,
Yeah.
it's going to be good stuff. That was the plan originally anyway. Okay, so you guys came flying through out of whatever that alt was and sort of crash landed in the middle of the market again.
Mm-hmm. And there is the Popo.
Well, yeah, whoever the authorities are for the marketplace, they seem to be sort of standing in your general vicinity, which is uncomfortable to say the least.
The first thing Danny's gonna say is, I didn't do magic. He was warned by Malcolm, don't do any magic.
Right?
Well, of course. So can you describe, like, we all land, obviously the folks who have been through the Great Zuck a few times are able to recover quicker. And how many people are around us? Like, how many authorities are there?
There were 3 of them to start with.
And Malcolm was just kind of dusting himself off, looking disgusted, and said quite loudly and says, I am never doing that again.
Right, you looked at Hugh, I remember that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, so, yeah. If I see any people who are looking at us, it's like, hey, how's it going? My name's Hugh Mann.
Like I said, can't do it without him.
Malcolm kind of kisses his cross and goes, yep, you're testing me.
Well, of course, now this is kind of where we get to see sort of a reaction from somebody who has not been around, and that would be Vix at the moment. Because he's like standing up, looking at a crowd of an entirely not wholly human population, standing in and around the area, and then there are 3 authority figures close by who are observing the situation rather carefully, one of which actually steps forward. They definitely appear to be much older, not in their appearance, but in their demeanor. Definitely a lot, fairer of the skin, fairer of, facial expression, very gentle kind of bone structure, but not weak in any capacity. There's actually this really strong sort of aura of real authority coming off of them. They are wearing a kind of uniform, which is mostly dark. They have sort of a white strip that goes around here because it's like a coat that buttons here to the left, and then you have on
Not Night City PD.
No. You guys are in the marketplace, so they have like the side buttoning dress shirt, but it has the white trim that goes around it to signify it out, and it's a very deep dark, darker than navy blue, but almost black from the looks of it, and they are very well dressed. There's a belt that goes around the outside with the double flap, very clean looking type uniform. There's no badge or anything, but the appearance is enough since they are all wearing the same thing. It's very clear. One of them is decidedly very, probably human, just because of the fact that they have beard and no extraneous features that appear to be anything unusual. One of them is something of an oddity. They are sort of goat-like. You can see the horns coming up and off. They have the goat eyes, and they have the extended face and features. But they're standing in the center. The one that's speaking to you now is actually the one that's fair of skin and the rest of it. and they have like their hair put into a braid. He's watching everyone, is shaking his head. Anyone wish to care to explain?
Oh, so I guess that's when he was like, "Hey, human, at your service." He reaches out to shake his hand.
Well, I mean, he actually doesn't seem to be too terribly concerned. He does shake the hand. He's like, "You, perhaps? What's going on?"
Well, I probably should ask you what you saw so I can explain.
Danny is going to be uncharacteristically quiet.
He's like,
terrified.
Malcolm
getting
kind of
in
mutters
trouble.
under his breath to Danny. That would be a good idea.
Well, he just like, you've clearly moved through some other trans-dimensional portal directly here into this part of the market square. So, what are you doing?
"Oh, man, we just got back from an alternate Earth using a slipgate. There's one right over. Are we near the? If I look
Well, yeah, you
around,
guys
are
were
we near
spit
the
out
place
where
we're
you guys were spit
Yeah.
out. It's still present. It's not visible anymore. You guys came erupting through in a flash of light and some noise, and then kind of just is like, we're aware that the skip gate exists, but we're still trying to understand why it is that it was in use, let alone the fact that you've actually been visiting alternate realities.
Oh man, that was a mistake.
Yes, it usually is.
That's what happened. It opened itself, sucked us in, and we went to an alternate reality for a little bit. Vix here. He's actually from that reality. Hey, Vix.
Vix
Reed's
is
a nice
just kind of
gentleman.
like
I didn't catch your name.
staring at the goat thing. He just can't get his eyes off of that. He's like, what, what is going on? Like, he's just like, is this Night City? He's kind of like, it's really weird. Like, just kind of not sure how to process. Now that he's a little bit less green around the gills on top of it, because
Right.
the ride definitely threw his ass around.
Right. He would ask for his name, like whoever's talking to us, the leader of the authorities.
He's like, yeah, he's Lieutenant Fenris is the name.
Fenris. Well, Lieutenant Fenris, I'm glad you're here because that gate is not a safe place. It should totally be cordoned off.
He kind of
Right,
gives you
Malcolm?
he kind of gives you this minor eye roll, because what's funny is that you're not being untruthful in the least, but you are deflecting, which is where I'm starting to see that human is capable of actually doing redirection despite telling the truth. I mean, it's just sort of like, yes, I'm aware that it's dangerous. That's the reason why we don't like having them go through it. And the Market Authority is extremely strict when it comes to these kinds of policies. Now, I'm
glad
willing
you're here then.
I'm willing to accept that there was an accident, but you left not too far long ago, roughly 2 days, somewhere close to that,
Oh, jeez.
within the last 36 hours. And you have returned within that period of time, which is unusual, and regards you as having some kind of sophisticated talent. And you can see him eyeing everybody in the group. He actually settles on Silver for a moment. I suspect that you have something to do with it.
Oh yeah, Silva. She's our resident expert on slipgates.
Danny's gonna just smart brace text his dad.
See if he can.
Yeah, the
He should have
texting
gotten a
the
bunch of
texting works.
notifications coming in, right?
Yeah, texting works, but calling does not. Yeah.
No, he's just gonna text his dad real quick and be like, "I'm home safe. I will explain later. I am not hurt." Like real simple.
Yeah, in probably the next 30 seconds, you'll be feeling all kinds of haptic feedback from various responses.
Yeah.
Well, and so Lieutenant Fenris is just like, so you've got some responsibility in what has occurred here, then. She's like, I
Oh, she's talking
didn't
Silva.
initiate the gate, okay? That was him, because he said he saw somebody walk through it and drug our ass somewhere else. And he's like, he just nods his head, he's like, that I believe. It also seems to fit certain kinds of witness accounts, not to mention the fact that Market Authority happens to agree with it entirely, given the fact that we were able to monitor the situation. We keep a very close eye on these kinds of things, and there was a disruption that actually caused it to occur, which puts you all in a certain very unique standpoint. Given that there was no magic used whatsoever, no neutrality laws were violated. You simply managed to move through a gate that happened to be opened due to some other kind of disturbance or variation. However, you're being warned to mind yourselves and be extremely careful. Breaking neutrality laws here are lethal and restricted for a reason.
Point taken, Lieutenant. Well, is there anything else you need from us? Because we actually lost 2 days of time doing on our own errands. We were 2 days. We were 2 days.
Am I under arrest?
Hey,
'Cause
we were
actually
having
2 days.
clothes made for us.
You were.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, you were. Yeah.
I don't know if it's done yet, but we were in the alt Earth for 2 days too, right? Like
Yes, the time is the same. Yeah, the amount of time you were gone is the amount of time that you were showing gone. So no weird dilations or contractions.
That's good. That's good. Because let's see, I'm trying to remember back. Were we on our way out?
You guys had done your shopping, and Silva had done some investigating, realizing that this place was a gold mine for all different kinds of skip gates.
Yeah.
But now Silva has found out the consequences of messing around with skip gates.
Well, I kind of forced her hand there.
Well, she's also now aware that she won't be able to use them, which means that she's going to toss that idea out the window. She had originally thought that maybe there'd be some means by which to actually employ this, but if they are aware of certain elements that are always happening, and the fact that they basically validated what Hugh's been saying this whole time, that something walked through it first, you know, she's paying attention on that level. She's like, nobody else was there, and then from this, like, market authority officer, there's this, like, sudden realization, oh shit, something else was here. So, that's weird. So, whatever Hugh saw, in her mind, must have been somewhat legit, because, yeah. So, it changes her perspective on things.
She can't backdoor her way into the market. She has to go through.
Correct, yeah, because apparently Market Authority will be all over that crap, and they watch those things like basically an invasion point, so...
Makes sense. I think our current plan was that we were going to head back. We were going to try to contact, not Sylviana. It was what?
Fancy lady.
Yeah.
Fancy lady.
Natalia.
Natalia. I was close. We're going to contact her and see if we can try enticing her with the marketplace, like access to the marketplace and stuff.
Yeah, Malcolm was needing to talk to Brennan or Brenner.
Right.
About the mysterious stranger that gave them the letter.
Oh, that's right, the letter.
Yep, and then they get teleported to like a fake kill land.
Yep.
Murder, death, kill. Escape that. Get led into another portal. Ever since meeting up with somebody that he met up with days ago. So.
Yeah.
So that's
Max is still.
That's on Malcolm's mind.
Well, and that's actually something that gets brought up because whoever this officer is actually approaches Malcolm in particular, and he's like, although this is your first trip in and out of the marketplace, either by accident or otherwise, we understand that you actually received a missive and then had a bit of a vanishing problem a while ago, your last visit. Is that correct?
Aye, and I tend to find out about it. Not particularly fond of the occurrence.
You seem to have an attraction to this kind of problem scenario. Is there any reason why I should be concerned?
I don't think you should be concerned. I'm more concerned for my health at this point.
Speaking of which, it's clear that you were under some distress the last time that this happened to you. Not the most recently, but the one before this. Where exactly was it that you said you wound up, or that you may have wound up? There were only rumors about the possibilities, but I want to get the direct correlation.
He gives a brief description of the castle, what arms and armaments the soldiers were wearing, what the enemies looked like, and then just a straight up field report.
Right. Which, God damn it. Well, he's just nodding his head. Yes, that sounds to be about accurate. We're looking for the individual that handed you the missive. Do you still carry the letter?
Alright.
Is it possible that it's still active?
Wouldn't know.
May I see it?
You may see it, but I still need to deliver it.
That depends
Yeah.
on whether or not it's actually any inherent risk to myself and the others that are here in the marketplace. So he
Little
holds out
mini-
his hand.
He gives him the note.
Well,
He
yeah.
runs... Yeah, he runs his hand over the top of it, and you don't even need to sit there and make any particular mystical awareness checks. You can see the power fluctuating off of him immediately. It starts to actually show up. So imagine more or less kind of like from the palm of his hand and out from that, it's almost like a mystical black light, and when he hovers his hand over the note, you can see this incredible energetic lattice work going over
All
the
his white
entirety of
spots.
it.
Did Jackson Pollock in here?
You said black light.
Yes, it did. Well, because it exposes what's invisible, basically. But he's like
Yeah.
holding his hand over the top of it, and he's looking at it, and he just takes note of what it is, and he's like, it is no longer active. The letter itself is effectively just parchment and wax now. He hands it
Ah.
back to you. I have no
puts it
reason
as-
to inspect its contents, but we do want to know how it is he managed to smuggle that kind of thing in here, and it looks like it's fairly ornate. So, whomever it was, did you know them?
No, but they wanted me to deliver it to somebody I do know.
Any chance I
was
can get
That
that name?
was. It's just. I would like to keep that in confidence. He is a friend. Now, you said you removed something. What did you remove?
No, this missive is inactive now. Apparently it was only set to do that once.
Oh, that exact thing.
Yes, it was intentional.
Oh, and I think I want to have a conversation with our mystery man.
Well, I have a feeling he probably knew exactly what your capabilities were since you were able to come out of there one piece, although that is impressive, given the fact that not many people travel to the Bloody Plains and then return here to speak of it. So,
Bloody flames.
Man, it was an active day.
And he just goes, "Oh, Hugh, I think we both learned a lesson. Don't take from strangers, and don't follow strangers."
Rangers are just friends you haven't met yet.
And he just kind of looks at like the warden character. Goes, I got
Yeah.
nothing.
Danny's
And
gonna
just-
choke on his spit. Like, he's gonna-
He just shakes his head, just walks on. Is there anything else I can help you with?
no, I think you've been more than forthright enough, and I have no reason to suspect that any of you are trying to make any kind of trouble intentionally. Just try to watch yourselves.
And as he
Hey.
says that, Hugh's going to produce one of his business cards. He was like, "Well, if you have any other questions or need any assistance, here you are. You can contact me anytime."
You're about 3.5, 4 feet away from him. He just does this, and you can see a little like almost a purple wisp appear. The card disappears from your hand and reappears in his, and he just takes a look at it and then puts it into his pocket. And he's like, "Thank you." Well done, Scott. That was well played. All right.
Having watched, just blitzed through, he first shows up in Ant-Man 2, and he sees Ant-Man doing up-close magic, and then he's like practicing, so the payoff is great in WandaVision when he does that with the cards.
Thing. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Ant-Man is so great. Did you guys see the quantum world thing? That looks
Yeah.
so cool.
Quantumania.
Well, it's like they actually said, "Oh, hey, people like Ant-Man. Let's put a budget on it."
Yeah.
All right.
Excited.
Well, so he looks
So
to the
Danny's
other.
gonna turn to Malcolm and be like, "I am glad that I did not do magic. Thank you for telling me not to do magic."
And then he just kind of looks up and says, "Oh, you have shown me. There is hope for the boy."
Maybe I should set it so Inky's internet lasts past 9 p.m.
I thought you were about to disappear when Inky said that. It's like, oh, internet's dead.
Parental controls.
Which is weird. Like, yeah, I should have realized, like, Inky wouldn't have been able to say internet's dead if the internet was dead. You can't report on something that's gone.
Well, in this case, Officer Fenris and his two other companions move off, and the small crowd that was actually sort of assembled around the area, peeking in and listening to the conversation, disperses rather quickly after that. And Vix is just kind of trying to keep himself sort of composed. There are a lot of entities in this place that just don't match up to something that you would normally see anywhere from where he's from, period. So he's kind of lost in Alice in Wonderland's crazy environment.
He's going to walk over to him and clap him on the shoulder and it's like, well, Vix, welcome to the marketplace. Would you like to see Night City?
Yeah, I think I might.
Well, let's go. He's going to lead him in that direction. Like everybody start walking in that direction. The one thing he'd like to do, just to let you know his intentions, is he'd like to stop by the Minotaur. Can't remember his name right now. But,
Bert.
That's right, Bert the Minotaur, and just check in and make sure that Vix is okay, considering he.
Well,
was able to
leaving
access
is
the marketplace.
Leaving is one thing. Entering without permission is another, which he basically did the first. You know, he entered in without permission, but it wasn't necessarily his fault. He's staying with you. I can't have any more people at my place.
Oh yeah, he'll take care of him for now.
Well, yeah, you guys start heading out. I'm actually going to switch this up for just a minute before we actually exit.
Danny's gonna just ask Barnaby to check in with the parents.
Oh yeah, don't worry.
Please
Barnaby's
don't
been
have-
quiet because when you go back to tell him that, he's more or less trying to figure out what's happening with. Yeah, he's more or less trying to give a sort of download report kind of thing. But his thing is mostly fried. So, yeah. He's
Oh
doing
yeah,
the
mine
best-
was fried too, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
But when you guys start to leave, Vix is just kind of stunned at this point. Culture shock doesn't come close to it. The kinds of things that he's been able to, the kind of things he's been able to witness at this point are storybook only. So when finally arriving at the main gate just beforehand, yeah. Well, and he's sitting there on this rather large stump, which you see that there's actually kind of a groove from where he drags the stump out to sit on, apparently whenever he's bored or whatever. And he's got like the hollow cat that's kind of moving around and just kind of...
Yeah, Tamagotchi.
Yeah. It's cleaning itself.
It's my favorite part of the campaign. I swear to God.
The Minotaur is great.
The Minotaur with his little cat.
Yeah, I like how it's evolving.
Yeah, so you
Like
guys come
Dunkin'
stepping on
Donuts.
up, and Bert's just kind of sitting there watching the cat, like, clean itself. And, looks up to see you guys coming that way. He's like, who's that?
Ah, Bert, this is Vix. He's from an alternate reality.
Yeah, but then he stands up to full height, and he goes like, I don't know you. How'd you get in here? Like that, and starts moving forward. You hear the cat behind him do a meow sound, like it's irritated that he got up and moved.
It's like, hold on, he got
And,
here on accident.
Vix is doing this thing where he's basically not moving, like he wants to leave, but he's just leaning backwards. Like this.
His vision
Yeah.
is based on movement. Just like,
Yeah. Yeah. So you've got Bert standing there full, just straight up raw muscle and height, standing over everyone and just kind of looking at Vix very intently.
We already talked to the police, Bert. We're fine.
And he just kind of like nods his head a little bit. Yeah. They don't necessarily let people walk around that don't deserve to be walking around. So, I guess it's fine. He like leans over, is like, you have a pass though? The guy's like, just shakes his head. Better get one then if you want to come back.
Thanks, Bert. See you around.
Totally different.
What?
The visualizer is totally different.
Did you
It's
upgrade
like cartoonish.
Yeah.
Weird. Oh, and gone. Back to normal.
it? You got the
Yeah.
psychedelic one randomly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then he like steps aside, letting you guys go up to the doorway, which is kind of embedded into nothing. But coming back this direction, it's always kind of interesting just to see the door, the arch, and all that other stuff sitting there, with just more forest line coming out the back end of it. But that's not where it leads. And of course, when you open it back up, this trip doesn't stop because here comes Vix with the, well, that looks stupid, and then it goes and it opens up into one of the alleyways of Night City, and then he's like, and this is all normal to everyone. Like looking at him, and then you can see like when you guys are passing by, the cat's jumping up, and there's just Bert just doing this kind of like that, trying to mess with it kind of thing, and then
Amazing.
yeah, well, and of course, whenever the door closes, you can hear it lock automatically, and you guys are now back into, what you're familiar with. As if the jaw dropping was enough from where he was, staring up and finding skyscrapers and all kinds of industry just pushing straight up into the skyline. Wasn't
Yeah,
really
that'd be kind of
expecting
weird
that.
for him, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been pretty weird so far, but even though this is more normal, it still blows his mind away. Because
Yeah.
up above, there's like the flickering light of like drones and jumpers pushing past in large amounts of traffic. You've got all kinds of cabling and other networked type, pipe work and so forth as the alleyway becomes more modernized once you're leaving it. And stepping into that sort of free market area where you have the booths and the cooking and the rest of it, which is quite a bit more familiar to him, really. It's just that where you guys are coming in, it's a lot more high class, and that's saying something from where he used to be. But yeah, you got that ever so persistent rattle of gunfire in the distance, and all the different sounds, the sirens, all of that. Yeah.
And then when we walk out there, he was going to be like, "Welcome to Night City. We need to meet up with Danny's father since we've been gone for multiple days now. I imagine he might be worried, right, Brenner? Or Barnaby? Barnaby?
And he's just like, he's like, yes, anytime soon. Now would probably be the best. We should just either get a jumper or a ride, something.
He looks around everyone's armbands and is like, Danny, I think yours the only one that's not broken. Can you call us a ride?
Already called. Vix. So do you remember when I was asking you about grounders and jumpers?
I mean, it's just sort of like, yeah, like he's just kind of looking at you, looking up and looking around, just absorbing all of this.
Grounders are closer to what you know. They roll on the ground. Jumpers, and he's gonna like track the one, that's coming in.
Yeah.
He's like, they fly in the air.
Who doesn't deserve to be breathing? The air?
So, just, hold tight. It's totally safe. Everything
Did you
is-
change your microphone, Scott? You sound
just-
more tinny all of a sudden.
I just bumped it.
Yeah.
Oh, there you
Wow,
go
that's
now.
crazy.
Oh, wow, that's like 2 inches, and it was a huge difference.
Wow.
You're back to
There.
dulcet tones.
Nice.
Right. So he's just like,
Yeah, he's gonna say jumpers fly through the air.
yeah, and this one's coming down, and you can see the mag lift. The mag lifts are pushing everything out and away because it's creating a distortion and disturbance there. Subtle, not a lot of noise, but just definitely pushing some stuff around, along with the moisture from a recent rain. It looks like.
Do they have electricity at all that Danny noticed?
Yes, they had electricity. It was just rudimentary.
Okay.
The kind of
So-
power systems that you guys are used to dealing with is leaps bounds way ahead of that.
Yeah. He's just gonna say, like, okay, so you know how like a car battery works.
He's like, yeah,
Right.
like still staring at this
This
thing
is-
settling.
This is like a souped up electromagnet.
He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna, like shakes his head, which is funny because he's not gonna really get a lot of looks. He looks like he's from here, all things considered.
Right.
As a matter of fact, he looks a little bit more punked out than most people, which is kind of a
Yeah.
statement.
They're like, wow, impressive.
Yeah, you really went for it, huh, buddy?
So it's totally safe. It uses magnetic levitation.
Well,
Don't freak out.
let's go. Like, he's just kind of looking it up and down now with a more keen interest while he gets into the vehicle as the door slides out and up.
So yeah, they'll get in. Danny's just gonna hand his armband over to Barnaby so he can.
There's actually just a look of
Manage.
like, thank you, like,
He's just gonna. He's like just hand it to him so he can just manage.
yeah, because he's speaking to your father, and it looks like it's a pretty ongoing, crazy situation.
Dan's gonna say, "But Vix, if you thought the food that I made was good, wait till you have ramen."
Amazing.
Oh yeah, here we go. All right, so he steps inside. The door automatically closes, and you can hear the seal go like that as it pulls in. I found some good ones. When it seals all the way in, you can feel the car lift up. Now nobody else really notices, but Vix is just kind of like this, and you realize that he's just kind of looking around. And as the lift goes all the way up, you guys are interspliced into traffic, and then you have that kind of like electrochromatic, that electrochromatic change where you can see
Yeah.
out despite the fact that there's not really any windows or anything, right?
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
That'd be kind of wild for Vix, I'm sure.
yeah,
Like
Yeah,
magic's happening around him.
more
That's
or less.
why Danny's like, "It's perfectly safe. It's perfectly safe." Like, kept
Yeah.
saying because he figured that would be coming.
Yeah, he's like, this thing is absolutely amazing. Like, he's just looking around at it, like,
Oh yeah, he was kind of a car head, wasn't he?
oh yeah, he's big into vehicles, big into machines. Like,
So this is like super fun for him.
right now it is, yeah.
If you want, I could probably get you a job at my dad's company.
And he's like, yeah,
Get to work on cars all day.
staring outside as the buildings kind of shrink down below. He's like, how am I going to be able to do any of this? This is huge. He's like looking across like, how big is this place?
It's big.
It's really big.
Silva's leaning back and just kind of
the
like,
alt wasn't like it wasn't like like the United States or something, right? They weren't like in the equivalent of a different history of Ohio or something.
yeah, it wasn't just a single state. It was a whole different like history entirely for
Yeah.
the way that it was working.
Okay.
So
Yeah, Danny's just gonna say it's thousands of miles.
yeah, he's just like, how did that even happen? Like, he just can't wrap his brain around it. He's like, thousands of miles, thousands. I know that there were like
Cities
towns
Just
maybe
kept
50,
growing
60
closer
miles.
and closer together. That's it.
He just shakes his head again. He's
I
like,
learned that word. It's a conurbation.
yeah, he's just like, what? Silva pipes in. She's like, you're gonna get used to it, and trust me, the awe will wear off. He's just they're like, compared to where I was at a moment ago, and before that, actually, anything's better than where I was, to at least to some degree.
But the rules are about the same.
Yeah, up is down, down is left.
He's looking over at Malcolm. He's just sort of like, all because you guys came weirdly through everything else.
He was like poking at his broken thing. It's like, I need a new wrist. I guess it's time for an upgrade anyway.
Yeah, he's just sort of like, and what are those things now that I'm seeing it going, because Barnaby's just tapping
Right
away
now
right
they're
now.
actually active.
Yeah.
It's like a little information portal.
The magic rectangle. He was just like poking fun.
Oh, I almost got my wires crossed because I've got another Shadows game running, and I was just sort of like, and this happens. Like, no, wrong game.
Oh,
I almost had a crossover. I don't know if you've ever done that, Scott. When you're doing games, you like start blending the plot lines together.
absolutely. Why are we on a boat again? It was just a dream. You all wake up.
Little fourth dimensional side hopping, no big deal.
Yeah.
Side hopping.
When you land near at the landing zone for the apartment complex that you guys are at, you can step into the penthouse. Of course, again, more mesmerizing elements to be found here, given the fact that there's working elevators and clearly a lot more cleanly type conditions. Not to mention the fact that you guys are in a much more corporate sector of this area. It all plays together into this incredible image in his head, and he stands at the main launch point off the side of the building there, and he's just staring over the edge, watching the cacophony of activity, just blown the hell away. Because now he's got like a bird's eye view, and he's now higher in elevation, standing on something solid than he's ever been ever. Because most of the structures out there look like they may have been 5-6 stories tops, not 100 or more.
And rickety, not
not in good condition. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like steel.
Yep. So he's just like, this is insane. Like, he just turns around and walks in with the rest of you after you guys give him a moment. Silva's kind of like keeping to herself and thinking about something, not sure exactly what, but once you come into the penthouse, you take the elevator, which goes to the main floor that you were going to need to be on. It's only 2 above from where you landed. And once you get inside, your dad is like pushing through from wherever his office is out to where you're supposed to be, and he just slaps you into a big ass hug. He's like, what the fuck happened out there? Like that, and he pushes you back, just looking at your face, and you're scuffed up and looking dirty, haven't showered, like all that. Well, except for the fact that you did take a bath, so you're in better condition you're in better condition than the rest of them, who looks like they've been through kind of hell. Yeah.
I made hamburgers.
Rosy pink cheeks of youth. Mm-hmm. Dad, we're fine, but I don't know how to describe it, but we went through like a pocket dimension, which apparently is a thing.
He just looks up at the rest of everyone, kind of like you're all the adults supposed to be
Nobody
watching
did it.
him.
It was
He's just sort of
totally
like,
on accident.
how the hell? And who's that? Like that, noticing the fact that you have somebody extra. He's like,
We traded out Max for this guy.
This guy.
Right.
He's trying some levity.
there's certain kinds of there's like this need to almost be furious, and then it's like his psyche just shatters. He's like, all right, fine. What? I need a drink. He just goes around. He just he does that whole thing where he squeezes you to make sure you're real kind of thing, and then goes to fetch his drink.
Yeah. No, we did the deal. Just everything that you said worked. We went and got the suitcases. We got all that stuff. We're squared away. We're good. The heat should be coming off me and everything.
Well, no, that's not true. Like,
Danny's gonna pacify his dad.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, he was like, "What are you talking about, Danny? All we did was we got sucked into a different dimension for 2 days. We didn't really do anything. You're still in as much danger as you was when he left."
Yeah, but now we have stuff to trade, right?
We have a lead. That's true.
Yeah. There's the sound of liquid filling a tumbler, and he just takes a drink, and he's like, that was a lot of money.
It's kisses.
That was a great deal of money that we've invested in all of this, and you have managed to trade what exactly for what?
Well, the person that has what we need is a really big art collector.
Uh-huh.
And so we're giving her access to the most exclusive art in the world.
So you are going...
And we're hoping that that will be enough for her to give us the stuff that we need to... What were we trying to do? Make everybody forget about me?
Yes.
It's not just you, but yes, that is part of the goal.
Are we like Spider-Maning this? Is that gonna have dire consequences? Are Danny's from other dimensions gonna show up?
Who's gonna be our Wong that walks in going, "Don't do it," and then walks off to Carmitage.
Yeah, just there for a few minutes, just vanishes.
Yeah, you hear the rather the clink of glass and another tumbler worth of alcohol gets poured in. So, what exactly did you buy?
Let's see.
Knowledge.
We bought.
I
equipment.
got a pass.
We bought equipment to prepare for our next deeds. He would say that a little bit more eloquently, but yeah.
Which in
But also,
turn,
I got a pass to go back in there.
because of said purchase, allowed us to be afforded the information we needed.
So you're trying to negotiate with somebody who is apparently some sort of paranormal art dealer.
Oh, here's the chain of events that needs to happen.
It's either a normal art dealer.
We need to meet with Natalia. I don't know her last name, or I do, but I don't remember it.
Alaska.
We need to meet with Natalia Aleska, who has something called the Sands of Time. The Sands of Time will allow us to make it so that the folks that are hunting down our friend Malcolm here and Danny, the Templar, and the Rough Boys, the 86 Dread Kings, will forget about their existence, because those Templar are not ever going to give up, and the 86 Dread Kings probably not either.
It's not just them that you're going to have to make sure you erase memories about. Not to mention the fact
Right.
that the 86 Dread Kings and their rivals are after us as well. So I'm to take into account that you haven't purchased the item that you initially went for, but you bought a lot of something else, and then went on some sort of joyride through dimensions.
There was no joyride out for us.
Well, and
Yeah,
again, he
we got
pours yet another
all
glass of liquor after he downs the next one. He's like, I can arrange some kind of meet with Natalia if she's got any kind of clout. Obviously, we are of a certain particular class that matches. It will be less likely that there will be anything strange involved if I make the invitation myself. Though she's never heard of me, we're going to have to produce something that gives us the edge, because guaranteed she will hear a lot of people that say the same thing, that they have something that she can't refuse. So we had better produce something of worth. Any chance at all that we have something that we can utilize in that way. He's like,
Information is always.
you can kind of see him like looking a little bit desperate. He's like, information's well and good, but we need something hard evidenced.
I mean, Dad, if you saw this place, it was
You don't have any video
It's like
footage or any other
out of a
means.
storybook. Well, we could take her there.
I wouldn't advise it, especially since that's going to be your trump card in negotiations. He actually sets the tumbler down. It's like, I can't believe I'm trying to teach my son how to actually negotiate on business terms.
We could just let her meet Bert. That would be enough.
Bert? Who's Bert?
Malcolm, or Hugh looks to Malcolm and is like, that is a good idea.
The Minotaur who guards the gate.
I'm sorry, the what?
Yes, right? A Minotaur. Half dude, half bull. And, he's
And
huge,
Vix from the
and he
background's
doesn't-
like, oh, he's totally real. Like, he's actually just stecks up from out of nowhere, completely lost in his own thoughts. He was actually looking at one of the fixtures on the tables and was just smelling some of the flowers, and you start giving that description, that's immediately what he's like, yeah, he's completely real. Like,
Yeah, and he likes us, and so it wouldn't be like we're showing him off. It would just be,
and he also has a strange cat made of light.
And strange steel pants.
but anyway, if we should take her there. I
Again,
don't think we can take pictures.
You don't
of
want to
there.
reveal
You
the
can fake
thing.
pictures.
You don't want to reveal the thing that you're going to be using as a point of negotiation. Otherwise, you might as well just hand it to her and be done with it. You have to use that as some kind of leverage.
Well, can we just show that Malcolm's a vampire?
He like looks over at Malcolm. He's
I
like,
could do a magic trick.
Who's literally just draining the last of the blood from his flask. So it's like this, and you can just see it drop in to his
Yeah.
mouth, and he goes, "Hey,
I mean, if she doesn't know about supernatural stuff,
that's a far better idea than anything else. I can't believe I am actually having this thought process. I will see what I can do, and if I can arrange any particular kind of meat. Obviously, if we're serious about this, we'll have to compose something that's convincing. You said
Like
that
a
she's antiquities,
presentation?
art, and
do we have to do a presentation?
he's just like, it's not quite
It's
something
like
so
in
in depth.
school. Oh my gosh.
But it
Teacher's
is
gonna laugh
a
about
form of, it's just a form of social, it's a form of social bother, if I'm being honest.
this. I excel at PowerPoint.
Oh, jeez.
It's like, we're not going to need any kind of presentation, my boy. What we're going to need is just something upfront and irrefutable.
I learned how to summon pizza rolls.
Oh my god. Well, it's like, and you hear from the background again as Vix is still meddling around with stuff like, oh, so good.
Barnaby, can you
Lovely.
make Nick some food?
And Barnaby just looks over at you. It's like, am I your chef?
Please?
I'm gonna
Fine.
order
Okay, I'll do it.
out.
So he's gonna like, Vix, come with me, and they're gonna go back to the kitchen.
Yeah, which ain't far,
He's
but
gonna,
he's
like-
gonna
This is a different kind of magic. It's called
say.
microwave.
Oh my god.
And Malcolm had gone back and shall we say, refilled his flask for
Yeah. Alright, so we have Danny's father sort of standing in the midst of you while we have Danny, professor of home ec, is trying to show everything that he knows about microwaving. Frickin' pizza pockets. But yeah, so Danny's dad's kind of like holding his face with the now 4th glass of liquor at this point. He's
Oh
not,
my god.
Yeah, well, he's been pouring himself doubles.
Well, I was
so.
wondering if we're gonna get to chicken good. I don't know if we have that
Chicken
in Night's City.
good. But yeah, he's just like, all right. So we have to negotiate with this woman because she's in possession of something that you need.
Sorry, hot pockets are ready.
Oh my god.
And I
character's so magical.
Hurts me. I'm just letting you know.
yeah, and of course, you guys, he's just like, so she has something that you are deeply interested in retrieving. Which, I don't believe Sands of Time is what she had that you guys were necessarily after, but what you were trying to get was the chalice from
Oh,
her.
that's right. Sorry. Let me add it. Like, okay. Let me.
Yeah, the chalice.
I,
gives
I,
you
I keep
Anubis,
having to write it
Anubis
down
gives
the whole
us
chain
Sand
of
of
events.
times.
Yeah.
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 So he's sort of like, so she's in possession of some kind of artifact that you're after, and she wants to be able to, and you're going to basically negotiate access to the only thing that she could ever possibly dream of making her lead in the market. Like, you're basically proposing a full monopoly for this woman. And then, of course, whenever he makes that statement, you just hear her in the background, once again, like, oh, it's hot! Like that, because
Yeah, can't. It's not like the ones I made before.
it's just like, oh, but it's still good! Like that, and you can just...
It's amazing.
You gotta hush, 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 hush.
yeah.
Hush, 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 hush.
He's like, takes a sip of this stuff. He's not downing it the whole way this time. He just takes a sip. He's like, I'll just see it fucking done. And it's like, I don't care if anybody decides to sleep the night, but I'll be in my office at this point. But he's like, I'll let
Good
you all
night.
know whenever I have something for you. He's just sort of like, raises the glass. He's like, don't worry, it's starting to look up. As he goes into the office and closes the door behind him.
has been switching that stuff with water for years. He's fine.
Hold on, it's this one here. Yeah, so, alright. You guys are experimenting with all of this. Brenner is nowhere to be found, at least for the time being. Silva is preoccupied with something before she finally goes, like, this is, obviously I'm staying here, but she starts to work on various devices and is trying to put something together. You don't know exactly what it's for, but it's clear that she's got, like, a sort of a dog with a bone type thing going on in her head.
So who needs smart braces?
Well, pretty much, let's see here. Silva's is out, Hughes is out, so is Malcolm's, and Barnaby's is
Alright.
toast as well. So there's
I'm
4
on
of
it,
them.
Don't worry. So Danny's gonna go do some shopping.
Yep.
I mean, he was gonna yawn a big ol' yawn. He was like, I need to sleep. It's like, Fix,
No.
you want to see?
It'll be in like 20 minutes.
I still need to sleep.
Fast
Stop
acting fucking purchases. Yep. Come in through
I don't know how
vacuum
much
Fast
tube.
they cost.
acting to Nactin.
It says varies on the. How much does smart brace cost?
Well, in this case, you're going to be buying, like, obviously a modern, like, a moderately decent, like, because you're
Yeah.
not going to stiff people. Which is interesting, because if it was anybody else, you'd probably not give 2 flying farts, but, right now, it's sort of like, nah, they deserve it, so it's
Yeah.
going to be that mid-grade, so it's about 650 credits each.
Alright, no problem. So Danny's gonna buy 4 smart braces.
Yeah.
I'll just deduct that from
No frickin' problem. $2,500 for new equipment.
Yeah, no problem. And then it'll like 20 minutes. The courier will be here.
While you guys are getting that set up and Vix is just kind of working himself out, Silva comes back with, this smaller device, like it's a laptop basically, but it's just slightly smaller, about the size of a Chromebook. It's just, you've got several of those lying around. They're just meant for like quick access to the web, etc., to the link. And she sets this down and she's like, I don't know why I didn't think of it before. There has to be some kind of like focal point, but ever since we actually went through like a skip gate from somewhere else, I started to wonder if there was ways that skip gates could possibly sort of be renegotiated or traversed in a way that's a little bit different. And the concentration is somewhat trackable. And I'm starting to realize I could have like started to put this together, and I can begin to theorize exactly where some of these skip gates could be. We might be able to move ourselves around a little bit more easily, but I still haven't quite sorted out exactly why my former employer that got me set up from or within this, in most parts of this part of the district, in this part of the sector, through Hugh, in fact, and why those gates have been watched over. And there might actually be a significantly higher number of them than I thought.
Do tell.
I suppose that it has probably something to do with various arcane frequencies, but I'm just throwing out a theory here. I don't really actually know. But there is something I can't get out of my head. Why everybody keeps popping into my dreams, and like I said, it only happens whenever there's a certain necessity, and I haven't been able to figure out why everybody keeps showing up.
Has Hugh shown up in her dreams too?
Yeah, I think so, at least once.
Yeah.
Danny and Malcolm
I
have
know that
definitely
Danny has
appeared.
multiple times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Malcolm did at
You
least
were
once
coming
also.
to my dreams.
And it's like, no, you were entering my dreams.
That's like every night for the last month.
Oh.
No, just those 2 times.
Oh, right.
She's like just staring at you, like she's trying to burn through your skull with her expression. And when you say
Literally
nothing,
just those 2
yeah,
times.
he's like, yes. Like, there's nothing but pure warning on her face right now. It's like, not another word. I don't want to hear what they were or what you were dreaming about. Nothing. She's like basically the subject over without saying a single phrase more. And then whenever nothing happens, she's like, so what we'll need to try and understand is exactly what it is that they're trying to accomplish, because my work and my business is dependent on these gates, and somebody's trying to police them, which is bad news for anybody who's like me, and also stands to reason it could be another chip in our favor when dealing with Natalia. Especially if we
Yeah,
can prove that they have a
information
higher
again.
frequency.
I'm thinking Silk Road stuff.
Maybe?
But Danny doesn't know what the Silk Road is.
Nope.
That was like an MRI.
Metagaming.
Yeah, right. Okay, so Ding Dong, your new smart braces have arrived. They are all color coded.
Oh my god.
They are the latest teen fashion.
Of course they are.
Malcolm
Malcolm
gets Pikachu.
Red. Right, but it pulses dark red. It can't turn it off.
Oh, he stylized it.
That's why it took so long, you know, because he had to go in and like go through the custom options.
I love it.
And he's just looking at it and says,
It only pulses red when you're angry.
A fucking mood ring smart brace.
No,
How
it's
you
just
turn-
always red.
how you turn that off?
Well, if Danny's...
It's
I mean,
"But
he was
we're
gonna
all
slap it
networked."
on and start getting it all hooked up.
Yeah, we're all networked now.
Well, and you guys' CIDs are going to be interlinked and logged in with everything going on. So there's some time. Obviously, things pass over, and Silva will continue to work with what she has, kind of going down whatever this lead is. Something about whatever she's got has got her attention really hard. So she continues to research and do more or less just kind of isolates herself. Vix, of course, is like, how do I get one of those? Like, just kind of,
Oh, dude! And he, like, Danny hands him one.
Got you, fam.
yeah.
I got you. So this is how you can learn about everything.
And it's like, rapt attention.
Yeah.
He still has like several napkins that are all covered in sauce.
So Danny's gonna you know, load him like the tutorial for how to
Well,
navigate
he'll
it.
start to pick up on it pretty quick, actually. And like some of the first things that he'll start doing once he ever gets the grasp of how to work. Now, the difficulty for him will be like utilizing the various search engines that are available throughout the link to try and find certain things, but it won't take him as long as some. And he immediately starts going down the list of various things like vehicles and motorbikes and, you know, like all the different kinds of things that, you know, he never could have possibly dreamed of. Starts trying to figure out ways to like work through it all. And yeah, so he's going to be entertained for quite some time.
He's good to go.
Correct. Yeah, so these hours pass on, and daylight will be coming around the corner here sooner than later. So we'll probably
Malcolm's
want to,
gonna be bedding down.
yeah, we'll want to be skipping around that daytime hour, at least to some degree.
Yeah, Danny's gonna go finish up any lingering homework he has before.
Really?
And take a
You're
shower.
that studious?
He's actually considered to be really smart, so he'll just it's like
yeah,
his homework is literally just nothing. It's kind of a like busy work. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh wow.
participation matters.
Yeah, well, and of course there's going to be like new clothes for Vix. I'm sure that will probably be ending up being provided for at some point or another. He'll get to experience the first time ever a hot shower.
Yeah. Check out these auto fit
Shampoo and
clothes. Put it
conditioner.
on, hit the button.
Yeah. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. He gets to like his first day in the corporate zone right now is going to be like best day ever.
This is
Best
called underwear.
day.
This is called underwear. Oh my god. So, yeah. I mean, everybody kind of gets a chance to sort of do their own thing and tamp out. The following night... Oh my god. Fucking
That's
Encino,
why I
man.
always do my burrito for 1.5 minutes.
Uh,
How long?
Squeeze the
2
juice.
minutes. 1 minute. 1.5 minutes. Linkovich Jamovsky.
I love I love Ben Fraser, man. So when everybody gets back up on the following point, there's a lot of rest that's involved, of course, with homework being done, and the rest of it you can kind of ignore whatever the hell is going on at this point for because you're caught up at this point. Didn't take long. Sun finally sets. You're going to be snapping awake from your day slumber there, and everybody else is going to be milling about towards the front room. Not much activity occurs until dear old dad comes, from where he was at after his long day, and he comes inside. Seeing everybody sort of collected around the main room here. Hugh, did you go back home, or did you just crash on the couch or something?
I think it's still not safe really for us to be around, right?
No. Yeah, you guys are all still hanging out. Just didn't know if you were planning on doing something.
No, I'm gonna sleep.
Okay.
Flop house. Everyone just passes out on the couch.
Yeah, it's starting to look more like a college dorm room at this point.
You get a couch, and you get a couch.
But yeah, you guys are all sort of in there and milling about. He throws his coat into one of the nearby closets, and he just looks at everybody. He's like, well, I think I've managed to gather some interest. Apparently, Natalia's at least fascinated enough to see me either fly or fail, I imagine, given the fact that I'm making some pretty loud proclamations. But I've expressed interest and managed to put up front that I have the money to back up purchases and other things of the nature. So I think we're going to be having a meeting sometime in the next... He actually looks down at the smart brace. There's a bit of a buzz. He's like, no, for certain we're going to be having it in the next couple of hours.
Do I have to go?
Honestly, you might as well. You might actually learn something.
Yeah.
I'll be going ahead and leading this particular meeting, but those of us who actually have stake are going to need to be there. So, Malcolm, that means yourself, and then, of course, the expert here on supernatural everything, from what I understand it to be, you, and that means you too, Danny.
Glad to be of service.
Whatever it is that you can manage to do or practice and get down as hard pat as possible, I would suggest you figure out what that is, to act as further evidence as a trump card in case there's any sense of disbelief.
Vix,
Before
you
that
can
happens,
hang out
I wanted
here.
to inquire where Mr. Brenner was.
Brenner hasn't been for a while. I assume he's probably gone back to wherever it was that he started with, somewhere in Central Park, most likely.
Don't you have a letter for him?
Mm-hmm.
We can probably
Yeah,
take
let's-
care of this business first, and then whatever letter or correspondence you need to take care of can take care of itself at that point. So,
Dude, you still work at Central Park? Did you lose your job or something? You haven't showed up for work in 2 days.
Hey, you probably should talk to can't remember his
Because I
name.
cannot show up to work because of this.
Yeah, but you
Yes.
should tell that guy. What's
Lance.
his name?
Oh, Lance knows.
Lance.
Lance Bass.
You've already met him.
Yeah, no, I know we met Lance, but he's probably worried what happened to you. I checked in with my dad as soon as I got home. You guys not have people to check in with?
I got no one. I think.
Sad.
Right? Do I not have anybody?
Barnaby comes from out of the restroom at this point.
Oh,
and
I do have a connection, but we never like solidified what the connection was.
Somebody
Pam
with
was
resources.
my-
He was
the
a fence.
waitress at, the waitress where you go get a pie every day. She's like, "What happened to you?"
But no, Barnaby comes out from one of the from the restroom at this point, just kind of like waving his hands after having washed them, and he's. Did you manage to get it? Like that, and Danny's father just nods his head. Well, that's good. Is he going along then? He again nods his head. He's like, well then, no reason why I'm staying here.
You know, it'd be really funny is if when Vix goes to the restroom, he was like, "Why are there 3 shells in there?"
Yeah.
And then we all laugh. It's like, "Why?"
Frickin'
he
Demolition
doesn't know about the
Man.
He
shells.
doesn't know how to use the shell. Yes.
I love the fact that he curses out the police station's computer just to get a whole bunch of tickets to wipe his ass with. Best part.
Yes.
Well,
Anyway.
He would become
yeah.
part of the police force and become Judge Dredd.
So he's like, all right, well, we've got a couple of hours to get ourselves ready and settled. I've got a jumper on standby so that we can find ourselves at location on time. Make certain that everyone is dressed and looking accordingly, well, better than just like they're in their pajamas. Like, he just steps into his office
Can I
at this
use your
point.
shower?
And he's like, go ahead, everyone else is. It's a boarding house at this point.
I also, yeah, the shower's good.
Vic, so when we go, I don't think you need to come. You could just stay here.
He's like just messing with his brace, and he's still kind of like almost red-eyed, and like, he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm actually okay if I actually just stay here. It's fine.
I'm
I'll show you how to
good.
use the microwave.
And he's sort of like, I kind of figured it out. I watched what you did the other night, but this, like, look at this. Like, he pulls up, like he finally figured out how to get the holographic emitter to work. He's just sort of like, this is amazing, by the way, but look at this, like this, and you see this really, like, expensive. We're talking somewhere close to almost 500,000 credits of a motorcycle. I mean, he's like, it can go almost 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's one of my dad's.
And he's just sort of like, and pushes it and goes, he's like, it's going to be mine.
No, like, my dad's company makes those.
He's like, I'm going to have one.
It didn't change what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great. We've got, like, different
got
stuff in the
this.
garage if you want.
He's like, all right. He just kind of says like, you can let me know whenever I can ride it, and he's just like completely sucked
Teach
in.
you how to drive. Because he's tired of being my chauffeur.
This guy would know how to drive a grounder. Like a motorcycle and stuff. He wouldn't have to
Yeah,
teach him
but
how to
with,
drive.
like, the HUD and everything.
Yeah, he'll have to get used to that.
That's a fun project for later.
It's sort of funny how Danny has sort of adopted Vix in this whole mixture.
Right?
I wonder if this counts as community outreach for school.
Well,
You're like a foreign exchange student.
yeah, he's just never going back home, that's all.
Yeah, poor guy. Hopefully he didn't have any loved ones back home.
Not really. He was there by himself at a rally full of people. Likely his home life sucked.
He assured us that he did not have anybody.
Yeah. Well, once everybody gets assembled and ready, the jumper has been made ready to go. Vix is going to be very much taken care of. Silva wasn't really seeing much. She was just kind of like passed out still by the time everybody's kind of leaving.
Where's Danny's mom?
She was working, so she didn't show up. She was like there and gone throughout the middle of the day, and she had to go take care of some other things. Part of the
Pretend that
Danny's
Danny
mom has
explained
got it going
to
on.
his mom who Vix is.
He's my new friend.
So she doesn't like come home and think that they've been robbed and like call the
Well, at
police.
this point,
He's
she's
got
kind
no
of
ID or anything.
yeah. Luckily enough, and she's handling this a little bit better than the rest of it. Although she definitely was shaky whenever she finally got to see you again, because you know your father basically reported back that you were home safe and in one piece, but she wasn't able to get back immediately from where she was. She was sort of out of town, but it's one of those things where the reaction was not much less different, but thankfully she didn't have to take an entire bottle of wine to swallow down all the events that had gone on. Needless to say, everyone has a chance to get in this rather luxurious transport, and it takes off heading out to a location yet unknown except for to your father, and it's flying across the skyline there. Let's see. I want...
watching that icy.
Dude, I don't know how he got like immediate brain freeze. I don't know how that didn't happen.
I want an icy so badly right now.
That is the thing that my kids missed most during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Because we would go to Target and they have the icy machine there, and they were off like for like 2 years. The icy machines were not running.
You should make your own.
So I have a thing that I can make my own now. That's
Oh, well, there you go.
Yep.
Yeah,
See?
because of the pandemic, they closed down the 7-Eleven near me.
Yep.
So now I have to drive up so much further just to get one.
You're making me
Can-
want to get an icy now.
Do you remember when we lived across the street from Wendy's?
Yeah.
Middle of a raid, just go get Frosties? That was the worst.
Well, as you guys are moving along,
Gosh. I can tell
Yeah.
Dad's picked the playlist of the car ride over.
well, you guys are floating along, and this is where you guys get into a rather ritzy, upstyle, like really, really, really high quality lounge with live concert and the rest of it, and you've got some of this kind of going on. It's more dimly lit, but it's not a bar. It's just like this communal area where there's a lot of more wealthy type individuals and, menu and food and all of that. But not the hard beat bouncing of what you'd expect from Lowtown or clubs or anything of the rest. But yeah, so imagine like a wide open space littered with tables, all of which have the interactive countertops, and they're just sprinkled about across this incredibly almost Victorian style wooden carpet flooring that has these chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. Most of them, they're all sort of aligned in very proper geometric sorts of ways, but the light and the luminescence from it is somewhat dimmer, so it's almost like firelight coming from them, even though it's entirely electronic. There is bar. There are certain areas where people can collect together and have conversations. It's more or less like a high-end, almost fancy restaurant, but it just kind of intermixes the various venues so that anything can kind of happen. It's an industrial, it's more of an like an industry park where it's just high class, so that people can come through and enjoy this kind of a thing. There's even a sort of a quasi-library and art gallery that's in one section of it. Natalia Aleska, who has traveled with some of her own hired muscle, is sitting at one of these tables, which seems to be outfitted with everything you might expect, including menu, drinks, etc., so she's been expecting everyone. Her muscle sits at a table nearby, but very much close enough to react in case something were to go wrong. When she stands up, she's not a terribly imposing figure in terms of her height. She's tops 5'8", at the best. She's got a lean frame. She's very much pale-skinned. She has a slightly reddish-brown hair. Her outfit at this point is not... it's very business-like. And it's the blazer, the blouse, the, slacks and all of that. And she's standing with her hands just kind of leafed together in front of her with her chin up and just watching the group of you approach. Now, all of you have been given enough, clothing and to allow yourselves to look a little bit more up there. Of course, Danny doesn't have to worry about that part as much. Your father has set himself in one of his better suits, and then the rest of the crew is in more business casual.
Just, my etiquette check.
Right. And the other element, too, is that, of course, the kilt will still be going with Malcolm, despite the fact that he's wearing more modern dress.
It's a very good-looking kilt.
Yes, well, I mean, it's also capable of just being used as like a big old sash and the rest of that stuff. Kilts are very versatile.
Really?
Yeah.
They're not just a piece of cloth?
No, it's 9 yards of fabric that's been pushed together in a very specific way, but they were used as blankets, as coats and capes and cloaks and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
they were extremely
it's not
versatile.
skirt.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Multi-use clothing.
Yep, I can speak to that.
That's cool.
So she greets everybody, and of course she's just kind of amused to some degree. She's like, I have to admit, your proposal, and it's clear to me that you only have one specific individual in your group who happens to have some kind of, well, he's got the look of a bodyguard. And then you bring a child to the meeting. I'm not certain if I'm to take you seriously. Excuse me. He looks back over at Danny. He's like, he's here to learn. It's part of the negotiation, in fact. We do have what we're looking for, and I'm hoping to make an impression because we have something of note, and we are here to barter for something that you have. And we're prepared to offer you quite a lot for it. What the? Posture check, eh? Oh, I just popped my back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you said Danny, and I like straightened up, and it just went like brrr, all the way up.
Yeah. Yes, so I've heard, and I'm only convinced because you actually have a credible reputation, and that I just don't understand why exactly it is that you would put that under risk, especially for the fact that I'm not really that well known, not yet, and it appears that you know my interests, which is another bit of fascination for me. You deals primarily in the motor vehicle industry, which is not going to be the same thing, but you don't share a hobby of artifacts, antiquity, or art that I know of. I've never even seen you actually at any particular auctions or anything, so you either have an incredibly fascinating story, or this is the biggest waste of my time ever. He's like, well, we're not going to waste your time, Miss Aleska. I can promise you that. You needed to have some kind of verified proof that what we talk about is legitimate, and we're here to more or less break any sense of distrust or lack of clout. And I've 2 ways that I can do that. And she's like, I'm all ears. Why don't you have a seat then and let's discuss?
I mean, Hugh's been kind of sitting and is like, hey, I'm Hugh, man. Like, just
she kind of like looks at you and just kind of gives this like cocked eyebrow expression, just sort of like, don't worry, you don't have to shout. And like, she gives you a minor shake, but then motions to have everybody sit down. So this will be interesting because these negotiations are going to be a fascinating one. But we can't continue because if we do, it's going to be a while.
time's up.
Yeah. So we'll have to hold it there for the time being.
I hate to say, I don't know if I will be around next Thursday.
So Danny just falls asleep. He's like, I don't care. That'd be really funny, actually.
Barnaby, I'm bored. I want to go home.
Oh my god. That would not be pushed past, that's for sure.
Well, I don't know if one of the ways we're gonna convince her is like for Danny to do magic or something. So.
Well, Malcolm's going to show her the Blight of the Orphan Clan. This is like basically. This is the
I got my
artifact.
bracelet.
Yeah, you have the.
You have your
bracelets,
bracelet, he's got the dagger, you also have your abilities. I mean, you guys have a lot of options right now to really flash
these
it
are
up.
items that we've retrieved, but in giving you the information you would need, it would give you a monopoly.
Right. That would be the
I'll
idea.
say, if I'm not here, in my stead, I would say Danny would show the bracelet, use one of the guaranteed successes to do a
Something.
minor magical effect.
Yeah, I would imagine he'd probably pull off some kind of minor conjuring, like a crystal glass or something like that, to just kind of... Yeah.
So, that's legit. Because he would not want to risk messing it up by, like, failing his roll.
Yeah.
So, but showing the, like this and that. So,
Yep.
That's good. I'm hoping I'll be here. I don't know. It depends. The kids don't have school on Friday. So, it may be one of those where we just take off Thursday after school.
I'm so glad the weekend's hit up here. I'm ready for it. I'm good.
It is gorgeously snowing right now at the cabin.
Yes, whenever you showed me that image or that short video, I'm like, it's like a stock video. Like, what? It's like, now we just need to have, like, Christmas special, like, wobble transition directly into frame.
Very Shadows Christmas.
Yeah.
It's but it's not sticking. So that's like the best kind because you can drive on it without any issue.
Yeah. Yep.
But you
Yep.
can
Yep.
still go out and be in the snow. So
Absolutely. Well, in that case, I will say to those who have stuck around, thanks a lot. We will catch you soon. I have things I'm going to be doing this weekend, so I won't be streaming the next 3 days for sure, but after that I should hopefully, crossing fingers, be able to get back to doing some of my game streams and the rest of it, so we'll go with that.
Fingers and dicks crossed.
Yeah. Except for I don't have multiple. Awkward. Yeah. Alright, so have a good night, everybody. Good God.
Good night, everybody.